Coming up tonight, the Coalition of Independents is placing the blame for NIB's current state at the feet of the Davis administration. This as Bahamians brace for a rate increase. Plus, capacity management. The aviation director says a plan is in the works to fix the issue at LPIA. And later, back to the islands. Our Candino Knowles is on a southern island and shares how easy it is to get there. Our news, the weekend edition, starts right now. This is our news, the weekend edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Berthany McDermott, filling in for Megan Shepard. We begin tonight with more reaction to that national insurance rate hike set for July. Tonight, the Coalition of Independents leader Lincoln Bain is sounding off on government's decision to increase the contribution by 1.5%. Joshua Williams reports.
Coalition of Independents leader Lincoln Bain blasting the Davis administration for its handling of the National Insurance Board. His comments coming during a protest by workers at the Parliamentary Registration Department over payment and mole issues. It was revealed during the mid-year budget communication by NIB and Immigration Minister Alfred Sayers that contributions will be raised by 1.5% come July and then every 2 years until 2044. Bain blames the government's spending for the current state of NIB.
NIB is in shambles because of mismanagement and malfeasance. Right. Our monies were spent on things it was not intended for. If you look at the original intention for NIB, look at the act, it was made to be a safety net for us, the Bahamian people, all right? And a retirement for when we retire.
Since the revelation, the Office of the Prime Minister has released a statement noting that no decision has been made beyond the initial increase in July. But Bain says the possible increase will leave lasting impacts.
20 years from then, when it stops, it's going to increase to 24.8% of your salary. I don't know if people are paying attention to that. That's 1/4 of your salary. If you make $400 a week, $100 is going to NIB.
Bain also taking issue with the government's travel budget.
The lavish trips is a slap in the face to the Bahamian people when you are refusing to pay them what is owed to them. People are tired of seeing all of the lavish spending, and they're bragging and flaunting it in our faces. They went to Orlando and they said they spent $200,000. That math doesn't add up to me. If you took 20 people, I mean, what did you spend on each person?
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
Thanks, Joshua. Labour and the Public Service Minister, Pierre Glover-Roll, expects a new contributory pension bill will get parliamentary approval by the summer. Prime Minister Philip Davis mentioned the new initiative in his mid-year budget statement last week. Glover-Roll says the proposed bill is in its final review phase.
We are in the final review phase. It should be going to Cabinet within the next week or two. And of course from Cabinet, then it will be laid in Parliament. I would anticipate that by or before June 1st, we would have our new contributory pension bill passed, which is going to be a great and landmark initiative for public servants.
Glover-Roll previously said the current pension plan isn't sustainable. She says consultation on the new plan has been going well and will provide an opportunity for public servants to leave with more.
Those who are already vested and permanent and pensionable to be able to add an added bonus in terms of if they want to save more and improve their current pension. The pension is proposed to be mobile, where if you do leave the public service, you can take it with you, where savings will be a part of the package, so that if you have saved a certain amount out of your personal contributions, then that is something that you can access at the end of a period. So it's a great and positive thing.
This week, we told you about the $20 million being pumped into beefing up the Royal Bahamas Police Force's crime-fighting technology. But it's left some questions. Is the math mathing, and how effective have these tools been in the crime fight? Megan Shepard has the breakdown.
The real-time crime center at the Royal Bahamas Police Force is filled with the latest crime-fighting gadgets, from drone technology to CCTV and ankle monitoring. But what role do they play in mitigating crime? Officer in charge of Information and Technology, Assistant Commissioner of Police Shivago Dames, gives us an exclusive look at how it all works.
Whether it be the shot spotter, gunshot detection technology that is helping us to identify through a GPS location where these gunshots are emanating from, whether it be from our CCTV, system where we know acts as a deterrent to offenders, where we know help us in our investigations.
But how practical is it? Dames gave an example of when police use drone technology to successfully make an arrest.
We have, for the year to date, I'd say we were requested to provide footage on about 35 matters, whether it be murder, an armed robbery, attempted armed robbery, traffic accidents. And so we were able to provide those pieces of footage that we captured on our CCTV system to the investigators, and it led them or took them into the necessary areas. In some incidents, even made an arrest.
But even with all the bells and whistles, ACP Dame says the fight isn't solely for police officers. He's asking residents to team up with police through their FUSES program. Having those partners with business places and residents, again, goes a very long way in helping us to have extra eyes on the ground. In addition to our boots on the ground, the CCTV acts as extra eyes for us.
Thanks, Megan. That's our Megan Shepherd reporting there. Well, in response to increasing passenger numbers, aviation officials announcing plans to address capacity management at the Lynden Pinling International Airport. Aviation Director Kenneth Romer says with tourism on the rise and more travelers flocking to the islands, the need to efficiently manage airport operations has become paramount. His comments came during the annual aviation stakeholders meeting this week.
Most of our airlines, of course, are coming in during peak times. So peak times for arrival and departure is contributing towards that congestion that we're sometimes experiencing. NAD, again, as the operators of the LPIA specifically, has a plan that speaks to traffic management. They're working again with the Customs Border Protection, Airport Authority. But beyond that, we're doing some innovations when it comes to managing traffic from the air side. So we spoke about air traffic control. We spoke about the FBOs. Perhaps that sometimes we'll have the smaller carriers depart outside of the time for our legacy carriers.
And that's not all. Dr. Romer says the airport will also receive an expansion.
You will hear the chairman and president of NAD speaking about expansion, and not just expansion for the physical and the terminals sides, but a lot of it is going to speak about how we address the expansion of the air sides, the aprons on the runway. So great things are in store again for LPIA.
When our news comes back from the break, a prominent figure in the Christian faith shares a journey of triumph and boldness. And our news is in Miami for a Women's Impact Luncheon. That's coming up when our News Weekend returns.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
Prime Minister Philip Davis joining the chorus of those paying tribute to women this International Women's Month, recognizing their significance in shaping nations. International Women's Day is a global day celebrating the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women. It also serves as a call to action for gender equality and women's rights and is celebrated annually on March 8th. In honor of this day, Davis says women are vital in shaping the future of the world.
Stay strong, continue to love as you are, and continue to be the bedrock of our society as have you been.
In recognition of International Women's Day, we are putting our spotlight on a woman who has broken barriers and overcome obstacles during a time when women weren't seen as leaders in ministry. Tonight, we hear from Bishop Helen McPhee, who shares her journey of triumph. With 50 years in ministry under her belt, Bishop Helen McPhee has overcome many obstacles, paving the way for women in the church. Sister Mac, as she was affectionately known in her early days, recalls how the status quo wasn't enough for her.
When I gave my life to Christ in 1973, I made up my mind, all because coming up and what I saw and how I saw women in those days, what they were known as God put a double dose on me, and so I was not going to follow in that.
In those days, women were only a part of the prayer bands, the choir, and the mothers. So she eventually stepped out and attended Bible college and international ministry opportunities abroad.
I need to see more of the Christian, real Christian walk. And so I seek that.
Sister Mac eventually became Minister McPhee, who turned into Evangelist McPhee, Elder McPhee, Overseer McPhee, and now she's the first woman ordained bishop in the Bahamas. She's the founder of Agape Church, the Cathedral of Love. She shares what it's like to see prominent women in ministry today standing on her sacrifice.
Some I don't know them, but they know me, and they would say, "Woman of God, you bless my life." This really continues to give me that which I need to. It's really hard to forget, and it is really a privilege.
In this International Women's Month, Bishop McPhee is admonishing women to be bold and militant.
You are greater than you can ever dream of. In the sight of God, He is not looking at the situation that you find yourself in right now. He has already done what He had to do for you to become who He has created you to be, and that is a great success.
As a part of the annual Jazz in the Gardens Festival in Miami, Florida this weekend, a Women Impact Luncheon was held to highlight the efforts of women in the city of Miami and, by extension, the world. Our Talia Hall was there.
International Women's Day was truly spectacular. This as hundreds of women turned out for the Women's Impact Luncheon at the Hard Rock Casino. It's all a part of the Jazz in the Gardens Music Festival. Well, our news team had the opportunity to speak with several attendees who shared why it was important for them to be a part of the mega events.
I'm looking forward to bonding with sisters and just being in a room with women that are empowered, doing major things with great goals and loving on each other in this atmosphere.
I believe that the empowerment of women is very important, especially in the days and times that we live in now. And it's important to uplift one another and making sure that if we're up in a situation where we're a place where we can reach back and get somebody, then that's important and imperative for me.
The Empowering event is a celebration of female leadership, entrepreneurship, and personal growth. Sisters Nicole and Terry Ann Porter say they believe when women come together, they can make a positive impact.
That is so powerful for us all to be in the room, you know. So I'm really looking forward to see the performance of Fantasia, but again, just to be in the room with other women.
You know, sometimes we miss opportunities because we're not in the room, and so it was very important for me to be here because I wanted to be uplifted and just encouraged and just be around women and fellowship with them.
Several women from the city of Miami were also honored. Mayor of Miami Gardens, Rodney Harris, says women are God's gift to the world.
When we look out through this whole venue right now, it's about 900 women here, almost 1,000 women. So we're very, very pleased for the turnout.
Reporting for our news, I'm Natalia Hall.
Thanks, Natalia. Still to come on our news weekend, find out which island Arcandino Knolls is on and how easy it is to get there.
Coach Joe and the Rebels play in the SEC Conference Tournament and see which college basketball standout played the final regular season game of his career. Hold on for our sports weekend.
This is our news weekend. Welcome back. Unspoiled beauty is how Bahamas.com describes Acklins and Crooked Island, the two almost as natural today as they were hundreds of years ago. The Out Island Promotion Board is helping us showcase that beauty with the Our News to the Island series. Candino Knowles and Rayshard Ferguson are in Acklins for a week-long adventure, which begins tonight with how to get there.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon from the flight deck. Welcome on board Flight 402 into Spring Point, Acklins.
What's the best way to jet off to Acklins? Well, hop on board our very own national pride and joy, Bahamas Air. with flights twice a week every Wednesday and Saturday. We opted for the midweek adventure and boarded the Wednesday flight soaring out of Nassau at high noon, with a quick stop in Cricket Island. By 2 p.m., it was touchdown. Donald Ferguson, one of our gracious hosts, was waiting for us at Spring City Airport, and our rental car was revved up and ready to roll. Sure, we hit a little hiccup with a fuel shortage on the island, but our hosts had us covered. A quick 15-minute jaunt south brought us to Ivel's Bed and Breakfast. It's where we were greeted with open arms by proprietor Velma Gibson Ferguson.
I just pray that y'all would enjoy your stay here at Ivel's and would feel as though Ivel's is a home away from home.
And that it does. Velma's warmth and hospitality were real as the Acklands pride that radiated from every corner. And like Velma, a true island native through and through, so is Marvin Campbell, the chief counselor.
Acklands has a lot to offer. We have a lot of historic sites, we're rich in history, like you say, from politics to culture. We just have a lot going on, and when you reference to even economy-wise, we have something we call the cascarilla bark, and that sustains us. We almost like self-sufficient, if you ask me, in reference to employment.
I used to dream about this when I was in Nassau. You know what I'm saying? And one day I had no idea that God would have brought me back here at this time, but I used to dream about this water that we are looking at right now, and it just to see, and so I'm excited to let people know where I come from.
And that's just a taste of what Acklands has to offer. Our week-long escapade will feature everything from cozy hideaways to living like a true islander, and of course, the thrill of fly fishing. And now that you know how to get here, the folks of Acklands can't wait to roll out the welcome mat for you too. All the way from Masons Bay, Acklands, reporting for Our News, I'm Candino Knowles.
Thanks, Candino, and I hope you two have a lot of fun. The University of Mississippi Rebels make play in their conference tournament quarterfinal, and a college basketball player takes the floor for his final regular season game. Tej Adderley is here with our Sports Weekend.
Good evening. Welcome to our Sports Weekend. I'm Tej Adderley. Coach Roulette McPhee-McEwen and the Ole Miss Rebels just wrapped up a historic season where she recorded a program record 12 conference wins and won a 100th game, becoming the second winningest coach in program history. Now it's tournament time. Grand Bahama-born Roulette McPhee-McEwen and her Rebels had to dig deep in the SEC quarterfinals match to beat the 16-14 Florida Gators last night. Florida stifled the Rebels all game long. With a little over 2 minutes left in the game was tied at 71 apiece. The Rebels' resolve allowed them to pull through, pulling away on a 10-0 run in the fourth, spurred by a gutsy three-point putback by Madison Scott, who had 14 points and a tough 15 rebounds. Marquisha Davis balled all over the Gators, scoring a career-high 33 points to lead the Rebels, along with 6 assists. Kennedy Todd Williams chipped in 18 and 5. Coach O said that Florida was not an easy out.
We knew that Florida would really push us. It has not been a walk in the park. Anytime we've played them, Tharu is super talented. They have a lot of experience.
They should be playing the LSU Tigers in the tournament right now, so check that out if you can. While we're talking about Ole Miss, Sammy Hunter's college career started there before he transferred to the University of Akron in 2022. He took the court for his final regular season game last night. The 6'9" forward from New Providence had 10 points on 4 of 6 shooting, including 2 of 4 from long range, but it wasn't enough as his heavily favored Akron Zips were hounded by a 12-18 Broncos, just playing for their pride at this point. The team was led in scoring by Ali, that's his real name. He had 17, 4 and 4, and Enrique Foreman, the nation's leading rebounder, had 17 points and 11 rebounds in the loss. Congratulations to Hunter on a great career. He still has his conference tournament next week, and then they'll see if they're in the NCAA tournament. That's a wrap for sports on this beautiful Saturday evening. I'm Tej Adderley.
Thanks, Tej. When our news comes back from the break, Ricardo Rum launched its new trendy drink. That's coming up when our News Weekend returns. back to our news weekend. Are you wondering how temperatures will shape up this week? Well, meteorologist Ian McKenzie is back in the Weather Center with the answer. Ian.
Thanks, Brittany, and good evening, Bahamas. Here's a look now at your Saturday evening forecast. We're currently outside our studios. We're under mostly clear skies with a comfortable temperature of 78. Feels like 71. Our winds are from the south-southeast at 10 miles per hour. Current temperatures across the islands at this time in the nation's second city, Freeport. We have 76, 77 in Marsh Harbor and Governor's Harbor, a set of 79s in Great Harbor Key in Nicholstown, Andros, 78s in Allenstown, Bimini, and in the capital. In the central Bahamas, continuing to 78s in Kemps Bay, Arthurstown, and in Georgetown, 79 in Deadman's Key, Long Island, and Coburn Town, San Salvador. For the southeast Bahamas, we have 80 in Duncantown, 78s in Colonel Hill and Electoral Bay, Acklands, 79 in Abrahams Bay and Providenciales, and the hotspot this evening is Matthewtown coming in at 81. Satellite and radar imagery at this time, we have some high-level clouds moving in ahead of a frontal system that should push through the capital by about 7 p.m. tomorrow. Cooler temperatures, some breezy conditions in its wake. Boating forecasts across the country in the northwest and central islands. Winds will be generally southerly, 10 to 15 knot seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Low tide tomorrow morning at 1:17 a.m., high tide at 8:28 a.m. For the southeast Bahamas, winds will be east to southeast 10 to 15 knot seas, 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Do not forget, tomorrow morning at 2 a.m., we will spring forward 1 hour, so set your clocks before you go to bed. In your extended forecast, we expect that frontal system to push through our area. Like I said, about Sunday evening, we expect cooler temperatures in its wake, so highs will be getting up into the upper 70s, low temperatures in the upper 60s. That's a wrap in the evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. Ricardo rum is among the newest buzz items on social media and around town. With the introduction of their new ready-to-drink cocktails, brewed right here in Nassau, the drink was officially launched this past week in grand style. Our Danielle Miller was there.
Turn up the flavor with a uniquely Bahamian product. Ricardo Rum officially launching its first ever ready-to-drink cocktail at Solomar Restaurant Thursday evening. The venue coming to life perfectly mimicked the tropical branding, just as it appears on the drink's packaging. It made for the perfect atmosphere of high energy and good vibes.
So here we are out in this beautiful venue, all dressed up in our most flavorful attire and celebrating the launch of our two new variants, Smashing Gumbe and Hard Switcher. Okay? And the idea is that we want to live up to the campaign idea of turning up the flavors.
The mixed drinks weren't the only treat attendees enjoyed. There was a fashion show of local designers with curated garments inspired by the product. There was also a performance by the famous Essence Band, and the night capped off with music by international DJ Overdose. I know what you're thinking. The event looks exciting, but how does it taste?
The Smash and Gumbe is a little bit sweet. It is refreshing. It's carbonated. You can taste hints of the coconut and hints of the pineapple, but it's not overwhelming. The Hard Switcher is a little less sweet on the palate, and it tastes exactly like the Bahamian Hard Switcher.
Cheers to Ricardo Rum! Reporting for Our News, I'm Danielle Miller.
Just before we go, remember time changes tomorrow, so before you go to bed, set your clock ahead 1 hour. Thanks so much for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Berthany McDermott. Have a safe and wonderful evening, everyone.